In this movie, I'll show you how the 3 auto commands affect a couple of real-world continuous tone photographs. I'll also introduce you to a 4th hidden auto function that's going to make all the difference in the world. And in the end, we'll take this washed-out photograph, as well as this guy with his tragic color cast, and we'll make them look absolutely great. I'm going to start off inside this demo image, which contains a bunch of layers, as you can see here, 1 layer each for the auto commands, as well as a control layer down here at the bottom. I'll start with the top layer selected, Auto Tone, and then I'll go up to the image menu and choose the Auto Tone command. Now remember that Auto Tone is correcting each and every channel independently, and as a result, it has a habit of introducing color casts. And in our case, we have a kind of greenish, ghoulish cast going on. All right, I'll go ahead and turn that layer off, click on the Auto Contrast layer, go up to the image menu and choose Auto Contrast, and we end up with this much better balanced image here. Although, as we'll see before the movie is out, this is not always the case, but if all your image needs is more contrast, it doesn't need any color reconfiguring, then this command stands a chance of working fine. All right, now I'll go ahead and click on the Auto Color layer, I'll turn the Auto Contrast layer off, and I'll go up to the image menu and choose Auto Color. Recall that this is the one that tries to find the darkest pixel and make it a neutral black. It finds the brightest pixel and makes it a neutral white. And then it tries to find a representative mid-tone pixel and make it a neutral gray. And as a result, we get this image right here, which at first glance looks a lot like the Autotone image. But notice, whereas the Autotone image has a little bit of a green cast, the Auto Color image is resulting in a little bit of a blue cast. All right, now I'll turn that layer off and click on this layer called Auto BC. The BC stands for the Brightness Contrast command. To get to it, you go up to the image menu, choose Adjustments, and then choose Brightness Contrast. And notice this Auto button right there. If you click on it, at first it's not going to look like Photoshop is doing anything, but this is actually a very computationally intensive operation, which is why a moment later you will see a modification applied here inside the image window, as well as the implementation of a couple of custom brightness and contrast values. Now, if you don't like what you see, then you can adjust these brightness and contrast sliders, as I'll describe in the very next movie. But for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK in order to accept that change. Now, what's great about the Auto Brightness Contrast function is that it often works well in tandem with the other commands. So for example, I'm going to click on this double auto layer right there, turn off Auto BC, and I'll go ahead and apply the auto command that was the most successful in the case of this image, which is Auto Contrast. And we get the effect we saw a moment ago. Now, let's say I want a little additional oomph. Then I'll go up to the image menu, choose Adjustments, and choose Brightness Contrast. And I will once again click on that Auto button. Now, you may recall last time we got a brightness value of -14 and a contrast value of 99, which is almost the maximum setting. This time we get a brightness of -10 and a contrast of 47. And to see the difference, I'll turn off the preview checkbox. This is the image as it appears after I chose the Auto Contrast command, and this is the image as it appears now, thanks to an extra application of Auto here inside the Brightness Contrast dialog box, at which point I'll go ahead and click OK to accept that change. And just so you can see how far we've come, this is the original unmodified version of the image here on the control layer, and here is our final enhancement, achieved just by choosing a command and clicking a button. All right, now I'll go ahead and switch over to the turtle. This guy has an extreme color cast, and the reason is that I free dove down to it, and the flash on my little camera wasn't powerful enough to reach the turtle. And the thing is, when you're underwater, you lose wavelengths of light. So the first thing you lose is your reds, and pretty soon you're down to just the blues and the greens. That doesn't mean, however, the image is incorrectable. In fact, because this image has such a profound color cast, we know that auto contrast isn't going to do us any good. In fact, choosing the command almost did nothing, as we're seeing here. So I'll just go ahead and press Ctrl-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo that change. Then I'll go to the image menu. Sometimes auto color is going to work for you. So I'll just go ahead and choose that command so we can see what it looks like. And sure enough, it looks a heck of a lot better. We're starting to get some browns here in the turtle shell, and we're also seeing some pink bubbles. But we still have a profoundly blue-green cast. So I'll just press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo that change, and then I'll go up to the image menu and choose Auto Tone, which is that command that pretty much wrecked the $100 bill, but it does a great job of bringing out the colors inside this image. And then finally, just to make sure the image is looking its best, I'll revisit the image menu, choose Adjustments, and then choose Brightness Contrast, and I'll click on the Auto button, and I'll sit here and wait for it because it does take a moment or two for this command to work. But in due time, I will see a brightness value of -4 and a contrast value of 36, and just to make sure I like what I see, I'll turn the preview checkbox off for a moment, and then I'll turn it back on, and you can see that we are gaining just a little bit of extra contrast, at which point I'll go ahead and click OK to accept that change. And then I'll press Shift-F to switch to the full screen mode, and I'll zoom on into my turtle. And just so we can see the difference, this is the original version of that photograph, exactly as I captured it with a consumer-grade underwater camera. And this is what it looks like now, thanks to the application of the Auto Tone command, working together with the Auto button inside the Brightness Contrast dialog box here inside Photoshop.